Welcome back to the World Championship Qualifier. We are down to the final 8 duelists in the tournament. 6 of these duelists will be moving on to the World Championship in Kyoto, but only one of them will walk away with the title of North American Champion. Out of the 8 duelists remaining, there are 3 duelists piloting Necros, 3 duelists piloting Burning Abyss, and 2 piloting Ritual Beasts, which makes this the first time in a long time that Necros has not been the most represented deck at the top 8 stage of the tournament. This round we have Chase Cunningham versus Justin Roby, which is a matchup between Burning Abyss and Necros. I don't think we've seen that yet this weekend, if memory serves.
Yeah, I don't recall covering that match.
Which seems surprising given that Necros was the most represented deck in the top cut and Burning Abyss the second.
Yes, Necros was slightly more than half of the top cut, which is just about where it's been sitting for the past couple of months.
Yes, but does the fact that as the tournament progressed, the Necros numbers severely dropped relative to the other decks indicate that perhaps the deck is overrepresented or other players are prepared to beat it in a way that makes it less powerful than it's perceived to be?
I mean, everybody's prepared to beat it.
Right.
If you're not prepared to beat it, then you're not here.
Exactly.
Right now.
Right,
And compared to its actual tournament representation, it probably is overrepresented in basically every top cut. In general, we see numbers about a quarter of the field at most actually runs Necros, but when it comes to the actual playoff rounds, as of late, it's been about half or more, 50 to 60% of the field.
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether or not a Necros deck will actually win the tournament this weekend, as they have been one of the most popular competitive decks in recent time, and currently do represent less than half of the field.
Yeah, I do think that if you asked just about anybody who is coming to this tournament ahead of time what they thought would win, they would probably say Necros.
Yeah.
Or my deck.
Yeah.
If they weren't playing Necros.
We did a quick question on that, and those were most definitely the 2 popular answers, Necros or me.
All right, so Roby is opening up with 4 monsters and a spell card. Reinforcement of the army.
He's going first. It looks like he's going first. We got a quick check on what he's got in his hand. There's Valkyrus. There's Reinforcement of the army. There looks like a double Trishula.
Yeah.
Oh no, double Brionac. He only runs one Trishula.
One thing that I think gives Necros a very distinct edge once you get into this phase of the tournament is that because it's so small and you can usually find out where your opponent's playing because it's, 8 people left, you don't have to play around cards like Necros of Trishula if you know your opponent isn't using Trishula. So you can leave up like a Unicorn, for example, and search it. You can just Kaleidoscope out a Unicorn, search a Valkyrus, or search a Gungnir to protect the Unicorn, which is something that would be very good against a deck like BA or Burning Abyss or Shadal, for example. But in the mirror match, that could just spell defeat for you because you're leaving yourself open to getting Necros of Trishula on the first turn because you're putting cards in all your zone. So
Reinforcing the army drops for Roby.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Roby just summon a Valkyrus and a Unicorn, discard some of his cards in hand, draw some cards, and just end his turn.
With no ritual spells, he gets Clauseless and uses that to search out Necros Kaleidoscope. Sends Shooting Quasar Dragon from his extra touch of the graveyard to do exactly as you said and summon both Valkyrus and Unicorn. Got Brionac and Trishula. So it's not double Brionac.
Very, very strong. If he plays a monster like Great Sorcerer of the Necros right here, he'd probably Brionac for Shred. That's the same thing. He basically any monster that he can search and tribute for Valkyrus to get an additional card. So he tributes it to draw for Valkyrus, and then he'll activate its effect. Shred, for example, here is very good because it basically turns the Necros of Brionac back into a Necros Brionac and gives him a free draw from Valkyrus.
So that would certainly be telling whether or not he knows that what Cunningham is playing. Seems unlikely he would leave a field if he is dueling against possibly a Necros deck and would leave himself vulnerable to Necros of Trishula.
Tributes both Valkyrus and Shurit to draw 2, and then he's going to get a warrior-type Necros ritual monster off of Shurit. And it looked like he picked up a Senju there, so he can actually normal summon that and get yet another search. And he does. Senju is activated, searches any ritual monster. So he's got Brionac and Trishula back in his hand with a Mystical Space Typhoon.
I believe he does play Necros of Gungnir. I feel like that would be a just protecting Necros.
Strong play with Unicorn. He goes and gets a Unicorn and uses that. Gets it to hand, discards it, uses it to pick Shuret back up. Next, he combines his 2 monsters for an Xyz summon and gets Daigusto Emerald. Detaches a Unicorn from it to target 1 Brionac. And looks like the other 2 Unicorns.
He doesn't already have Necros of Valkyris in his hand, right?
He does not.
This seems pretty interesting to me. Leaving up a Daigusto Emerald, yeah, you get a free draw, but it's pretty easy to deal with, especially for most decks. You know, just an 1800 monster, if you can't protect it, especially in Necros, because the only cards you're usually protecting it with are stuff like Book of Eclipse, and he doesn't already have a Book of Eclipse, or Necros of Valkyris, etc.
And he's got Trishula, Brionac, Shuret,
and Mystical
Space Typhoon.
Yeah.
And he's just drawn, Preparation. Right.
Jeez.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. If Daigusto Emerald says shuffle 3 monsters back, give me a Preparation of Rights, I'm pretty sure I would summon Daigusto Emerald a lot more than I do now.
It's Unicorn and Kaleidoscope. And that's going first against Burning Abyss. That's pretty much everything you could wish for. After all said and done, he's seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards out of his deck. Sets 2 and ends his turn.
Yep, and no Necros of Valkyris, right? Still? So.
Still no.
Cunningham's hand consists of Karma Cut, Scarm, 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill, Vanity's Emptiness, and Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss.
That particular hand kind of maybe wanted to go first.
Yeah.
Gave something here.
Something interesting.
He really can't do anything. I mean, he has Scarm.
That's 5.
Jeez. That Mystical Space Typhoon's also going to open up Necros of Trishula, putting in a monster or a card in the grave.
Wow, so he sets 5 cards. None of them can stop the attack of a Daigusto Emerald.
And I do believe he still has 3 monsters in the graveyard, so he could use the other material off Emerald to draw again.
Yeah. And not before sending some more cards to his graveyard.
Allows this sent from the hand to the graveyard. Searches out Necros Cycle. Now he detaches from Emerald.
One thing that I don't think we necessarily see Necros do a lot is try to play like a grind your game against rogue decks. Like usually you're just trying to resolve Trishulas or Decisive Armors, you know, get in advantage like that and not just like here we see Roby, you know, using Daigusto Emerald, you know, searching Necros of Shuri. He's probably going to cycle back Valkyris or try to do something similar and set up plays like that. But I feel like against Rogue most of the time they're just trying to resolve their big threats, you know, get clean advantage that way and win the game from there rather than increase their whole hand size. But I like this because he's not under very much pressure from the Burning Abyss deck. He can actually just set up his hand, so it's so ideal that when he goes in to make his move, his opponent probably can't mount enough of a defense to stop it.
Cunningham negates the Emerald's effect with his Breakthrough Skill. Looks like a wise play because he does have multiple Breakthrough Skills and nothing to use it on except for that Emerald.
Yeah, you might be able to get Roby to drop that Trishula and then surprise him with the second Breakthrough Skill.
That is certainly possible.
Shuret is summoned here, and you do that when you're afraid of Mind Crush.
Don't you set it when you're afraid of Mind Crush?
Necros of Shrit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, normally, yes. But, yeah, there's actually, I was going to say, like, you could set it, or setting it, yeah, no, there's no reason to
activate Karma Cut.
Oh, Necros of Trishula. Do you think he was trying to bait a removal spell like that, knowing that he had Necros of Trishula in his hand? Like, that Burning Abyss most likely plays cards like Raigeki Break, Karma Cut, Phoenix Wind Blast, etc.
Now, is Cycle exact, or is it same or more?
Cycle? No, all the Necros spells are exact, but Shrit counts as the whole tribute.
What just happened there? He
Karma Cut banished
the Shuret. How did he tribute it?
So he
No. He used Necros of Trishula to
protect
the
protect
trap.
it.
Yeah, that's why I said
I
I think that's why he normal summed it because he was trying to get through another trap card, trade his Shrit, or trade the Trishula for a back row. Like, one thing that Burning Abyss can do is kind of scary. Like, I was talking about how Mystical Space Typhoon could possibly open up a Necroz or Trishula on the turn 1. But when Burning Abyss only has 1 card in hand, because they have so many discard cards, you can't actually safely Trishula into that kind of a field because they can just chain a discard card, get a card out of their hand, so then the Trishula doesn't resolve.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Things moved a little fast. But now Valkyris is on the field.
Yes. He is able to... Well, Trishula is no longer in his hand when the card goes to resolve, so he needs to choose something else.
Yes.
And he's not picking the Trishula because now there's no cards to take out for it, so he takes the bigger monster that offers draw power. Necroz's Kaleidoscope is flipped face up.
Well, that, and he used his Trishula.
You use one of the Trishula's.
Yeah, you can use each one.
He has 2 in his hand.
No. You can use both of the effects once per turn. So, like, he used it to...
Oh,
go
that's
to the
right. It was
graveyard.
a cycle, so he could have actually summoned that as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, he had no cards
That's
in hands,
cool.
but
Yes,
yeah. You can
yes.
use both effects, or each of the effects of every Necroz monster once per turn. And
Yes.
just because it's in the graveyard, even if you've already used a cycle, that doesn't necessarily matter too much because you can Unicore it back. Like, where the monsters are, as long as they're not banished, typically doesn't matter for a Necroz deck.
Right.
Roby uses Kaleidoscope to summon Unicore, sending Herald of Arclight, and that lets him grab Necroz of Gungnir. Probably going to be useful for keeping that Valkyris around. Or the Unicore. Both are good.
That Digesto Emerald is just the gift that keeps on giving.
Yep, it's tributed off for a draw anyways, even though its effect failed previously.
Drew a card, it ate a breakthrough skill, and I was drawing another card with Valkyris' effect. He got pretty good use out of it. And one of those cards was a Preparation of Rites, which gave him 2 more cards.
Got kind of out of control pretty fast.
I mean, I think he's actually doing the initial thing I said. Like, he's just trading as efficiently as he can with his opponent's cards, not necessarily trying to capitalize on threats like Decisive Armor Trishula in the early stages, but instead just setting up boards where, you know, I'm getting all these cards off Valkyris, I'm getting all these cards off Shrit, Daigusto Emerald, etc. I'm just slowly going to grind you out, so then when I do plant that Decisive Armor or whatever, it's just going to end the game there because you're going to be out of resources.
Skarm was the card discarded for the Karma Cup,
Yes.
and that allows Tour Guide to come to Cunningham's hand.
Fortunately, Unicorn negates the effects of all monsters summoned from the extra deck, and Valkyris has 2,800 attack points. So
Well, there's always...
there is
Acid
Acid Golem, so that might be what we're looking at here.
Tour Guide summons Graph from the deck. Or he just might try to get as many things into the graveyard as possible, see what he can find.
Always when we play, I don't even get to play real games against you. Because you always crush fire. It's not even fun.
Remember that he does have Breakthrough Skill in the graveyard, so he can negate the Unicore for this turn.
Right, he could do that. You might see that. There's a lot of different ways to play this.
And he pulls out the Breakthrough Skill on Unicore, and then makes a Succeed Summon. It's Dante. Dante detaches Graph. Send 1, 2, 3 to the graveyard.
Skarm, Skill Drain, and Crush Card Virus sent to the graveyard.
And Roby is thrilled because if that Crush Card Virus had been seen, his entire hand would probably be gone.
Yeah, he would pretty much lose instantly. Cunningham did send a Skarm to the graveyard, though. That's good for him.
Crush card is always in
I'll get another search in the end phase. And he gets a special summon from the deck.
Like, you think I'm kidding? He crush cards me every time we play. Every time.
I think specifically about Crush Card, something to note that I've noticed a lot playing with Necroz. Crush Card in the early stages of the game actually doesn't hurt a Necroz player that much. Because the Crush Card lets the person who's getting crushed destroy monsters from their deck, a lot of the times if they have like a Senju and a Colossus or any 2 monsters that can survive the crush, they can usually set up a Necroz of Trishula or something similar by sending it to the grave and then cycling it back even if they didn't have it in her hand or setting Decisive Armor. So it's really like that mid-late game Crush Card that actually gets the Necroz player.
The trick is you have to get them to use 2 or 3 of their ritual spells first.
Yeah.
Because one of the ways you beat Necroz is by running them out of possible summons they can make the threat.
Yeah. That's typically harder for decks like this to do, though. It seems like in a grind, like in the Necroz Mirror specifically, because there's a lot of Necroz and Valkyris back and forth.
This is interesting. So, Roby discarded Necros of Valkyris to block the attack. Now Cunningham has the option of using Firelake of the Burning Abyss, right, to clear the field. By getting rid of the monster that attacked, he would also be able to attack directly.
Oh, if he has... yeah, the Seer would have to bring something back.
Right, which
For
it
that.
would.
I think what he's going to do is wait. He's going to wait to see if he can get a third monster with it.
Well, yeah. So it looks like he did not make the play that I mentioned. He's just going straight to his Zen phase and using the effect of his Scarm to add Graph to his hand.
The other thing you can do here is you can wait for Valkyries to activate and then blast all of the cards that could potentially be tributed and force them to use cards from their hand.
Oh.
And so they have to do at least one.
Yeah, well, he already searched Necros of Gungnir, and I'm pretty sure
That's interesting.
his opponent knows. So, like, I think the Valkyries is still going to stay around, or something's going to stay around. Yeah. We'll see what ends
Oh,
up
that's
happening.
true.
Yeah.
So he can protect it with the card in his hand.
Looks like he's got Necros of Reenact still, along with Gungnir. He's got a Mirror, and he's got a Unicorn.
And Mystical Space Typhoon is still set, I guess, from the first turn. Is that true? Is that the card he's had this whole time? Because I don't see it in his graveyard, and he most definitely opened up with it. So I
Yeah.
guess it's set. Which is, I feel like I would try to bait out Fire Lake before doing anything. It's because you go to attack, so I try to attack. See if you can get him to Fire Lake. If he Fire Lakes, you also get to MST the other back row, right?
Yep.
And then he only has one back row left. And he's probably going to have a Burning Abyss monster floating around from like the Sir or whatnot. So, and he has 2 cards in hand. So assuming that even if he has 2 cards in hand, he has 1 card set and a Burning Abyss monster there, he can probably resolve a Necros of Trishula at that point. But we'll see. Another line is what he's doing here is summoning Decisive Armor. The Decisive Armor is very, very good against magic. Like, obviously any deck that sets cards. But setting up Decisive Armor so that you could Necros of Trishula after, because they'll usually have to answer the Decisive Armor the same way they'll answer a Necros of Trishula because it poses such a big threat. So we could just see him try to do that. 'Cause Decisive Armor, being able to get rid of a card every turn is very scary to leave up, especially if he already has Necros of Gungnir in his hand to protect it.
Yeah, that Necros of Gungnir really throws things off for Cunningham.
Question is, can he get Decisive Armor to the field? I see he's got Shurd in the graveyard and a Mirror. But his opponent is running a couple copies of Fiend Griefing. So if he were to get hit by Fiend Griefing in response to the Mirror, he might be without a possible summon there.
I don't think he has it face down, though.
Fiend Griefing, you mean in response to the Necros Mirror?
Yeah.
For Decisive Armor or for...
If he tries to...
Right.
Yeah,
Just doing
because
general.
Shurd's in the graveyard.
Yeah, but I feel like his graveyard is so full. For example, he already has Bryonic Unicorn. That can be used for
Oh,
Decisive.
yeah,
I
it
think
could be.
he can figure out some way, like even if it's Trishula, it's Bryonic Colossalos. So even if he gets rid of this shit, there's probably so much in his grave still that it doesn't necessarily matter.
It hurts a lot more to actually have to pay for things
Yeah.
by attributing the proper levels, though.
Everything's better when it's free.
Necros Cycle is activated.
It looks
Oh,
like
no.
yeah,
Necros Cycle is searched.
Or, no, I think
That was off of Unicorn.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
looks like
okay.
what
Discard
happened.
Unicorn to pick up a Cycle.
He's just revealing it to his opponent.
Fire Lake is now activated. Sending 2 to destroy everything after that search. And he's got his hand on the MST. He flips it as expected. He's not used the Gungnir yet, though. He's thinking about it.
Yeah. He has to use it before
He has to use it
we
this
see
chain.
which card is destroyed by a Mystical Space Typhoon. Once the chain starts resolving, it will continue to resolve until everything's destroyed by the Fire Lake.
Well, he gets to target at the very least. So
Right. So he targets that one.
we know which card is designated for destruction.
Yes.
Which makes this actually, it actually makes the Necros of Gungnir weaker in some ways because if you target something like Book of Moon,
Right.
then he has to respond with Necros of Gungnir now, which he can then chain Book of Moon to flip the Valkyries down, and then it still gets destroyed by Fire Lake.
All right.
Right. I think the back rows are...
And he
What
lets
are
the
back
monsters
rows?
go. He lets
Vanity's
the monsters go.
Emptiness.
to
Oh, jeez.
Vanity's Emptiness.
Was it Vanity's Emptiness and Breakthrough Skill in the back row?
Could be a second breakthrough skill. Actually, it probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't even think, protecting the Necros of Valkyries seems very, I actually know. I was going to say if he has ritual spells in his graveyard, just clearing his field and getting more advantage that way, but if he doesn't have any ritual spells, I think I would have protected the Necros of Valkyries. But
And it looks like Cunningham's going to pick up the Fire Lake again.
Oh, actually, does he still have Necrozma Mirror in his hand? He could be saving the Gungnir to protect the Decisive Armor because he sees that as a very strong way to win.
That's possible
Yeah.
because of how powerful it is in this matchup.
Yeah, well, it's less powerful here because he'll just trade for one card and then next turn, yeah, we'll see what happens.
There are a lot
actually.
more things that can happen to your monster when you're playing against Burning Abyss that Gungnir won't cover than you would in other things. So it could be a Wing Blast, for example, force them to redraw. Okay, we got Skarm coming back off of Seer.
Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss is returned to his hand with Dante's effect.
Banishes Kaleidoscope and a monster. Looks
there
like
was-
a Unicorn.
Yeah, so there was one ritual spell card in his graveyard.
Got 2 out of the 3 in hand. We'll see if he completes the set or grabs an extra copy of something. And he does complete the set, grabbing Necroz's Kaleidoscope. And he's really fortunate that he got that Vanity's Emptiness and not the other one, because now he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So what does he have in his hand? We know, I think it's Gungnir, Mirror, Cycle, Decisive Armor, anything. There's another card, right? Oh, Kaleidoscope. Okay. Yeah.
Activates Mirror.
He put Gungnir to the front of his hand, so... Okay, no. Think.
Yeah.
Good.
Summon the Gungnir.
There's some of the Decisive Armor.
Yeah, the Decisive Armor.
One of the two.
And Breakthrough Skill is activated on Decisive Armor.
Why not?
It's actually important to do so, because otherwise Breakthrough Skill will be banished.
Yeah. I actually don't like this position nearly as much, just because, yeah, I don't like Decisive Armor. It was good earlier when there was 4 back row, but
Yeah.
or in like you have a way to follow up with Trishula. But here it's not even that strong. Like sure you have Gungnir to protect it, but even if he, I'm not a fan, or less of a fan than I was before.
Yeah, Roby's actually not in great shape.
Another thing Gungnir can't stop, Virgil.
Oh yeah.
We might see that here.
Might. Yeah, with so many good ways to find it, like a graph, or like he has
And
Skarm
he's
graph.
just-
Yeah,
He's
he's
just
going to
moved
do
Rubik
something.
to the top, the
Yep.
bottom of his deck. He's thinking about taking it.
Yeah, he could get CERN and just get back graph and do it that way too. There's so many ways to just summon a Virgil. So
Yeah.
we'll see. And then just leaving your opponent with Gungnir and 2 ritual spells. It seemed like this game was just completely over early with how strong of a field Robbie was able to make in the beginning.
It's that Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss that really changed the duel around. Roby lost both of his monsters, as well as the Mystical Space Typhoon. The Mystical Space Typhoon was chained, so that wasn't a tremendous loss. But Cunningham destroyed 2 of his own monsters, both of which activated effects that basically replaced themselves with new useful monsters for Cunningham.
Yeah, I still think I would have
just picked up Fiend Griefing.
That's an amazing draw.
I think the misstep was not using Necros.
Not
of
using
Gungnir.
Gungnir.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
because here even like so, let's say Decisive Armor gets cleared, right? Very likely. Then he still has this Gungnir in his hand, but it's not going to do very much. Whereas having like a Necros of Valkyr's Fate or Necros of Unicorn, something along those lines, and then Decisive Armor in your hand, Necros of Unicorn out with a Decisive Armor in your hand. So if they try to attack over it, you can damage step, deal with it. Seems pretty strong because they'll normally attack to try to bait a Valkyrus and not always be expecting Decisive Armor.
Cunningham summons the Mathematician.
He's deciding what to send to the graveyard with it. Looks like he's got a Liebig there.
So actually,
you want to use the Mathematician now
Yeah.
and get it off the field so that you have more ability to summon
Did he take
monsters later.
Rubik with his?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Here's a guy. Yeah, this is going to be an awesome turn.
Graph is special summoned off the effect of Liebig.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for him. I guess we're going to see Dante here, and he's going to detach Graph. And then after he uses Graph's effect to special summon a monster, he'll be able to special summon Rubik. And then we're going to see Virgil.
I think this would rank up there in the huge comebacks
Yeah.
in WCQ history if Cunningham can get back into this game.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and he hits the Seer off of
Now he gets Graph
Dante.
and Sir.
Oh,
You can
Graph
see
and Seer.
You can see he's pretty excited about that by how quickly he's moving his cards around.
Life is good if you're Chase Cunningham
Yeah,
all of a sudden.
he can't believe it himself.
He puts a bar to the front of his deck just for value here. Oh, man. See, but like in terms of big comebacks in WCQ history, this didn't feel like a big comeback throughout the stages of the game. You know what I mean? Because it was a bunch of small trades.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it was just like little incremental things, and then suddenly the whole duel was turned.
Yeah,
It was definitely
it's a starting point.
It was
of the
definitely a
duel that made it.
gradual comeback, but at the same time, his opening hand was unplayable.
Yeah,
He couldn't stop an attack from a Daigusto Emerald.
It's just a giant hole that Cunningham was put in when Roby went through an extra 10 cards out of his deck on the first turn. That makes it feel so big. Skarm is the card searched out of the deck.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Oh no, Skarm is the card that is. One of these is from the graveyard, and one will be from the deck. Okay, Skarm is from
the deck.
the deck, and now he's
Presumably.
going to revive a monster.
And then
with Seer.
do we know what he searched for Skarm last round? Was it Rubik?
It was Rubik.
Yes, it was
Okay.
Rubik.
So then he has Fire Lake, Rubik, and some other card. Fire Lake, Rubik, not on screen, but yeah, I'm sure. Oh, we'll get a Dante here. Oh yeah, Dante seems strong because he's just going to use the Skarm as the synchro material for the Virgil.
Right. And looks like he's going to grab a Seer back.
If he's grabbing Sir, I guess he's overlaying for Dante. I don't know. Oh, I guess no. He can just keep the Seer face up because it poses to have
Yeah,
more
it's 16.
value.
Well, Looks
he
like
can
he
get
could do
he can get 6,600 damage in, which is
He could
not
actually
bad.
win this turn with
Can he do it?
Barbar, can he?
How so? He makes. Are
He
you saying he goes
he
like
can attack
Dante,
with Virgil, double Dante. Well,
No. I think the way to do it would have been like if he was able to make Dante, Virgil, Acid Golem is 8, but yeah, or this is close at least, but I don't think this is necessarily game.
Does he have F-Zero in his
Yeah, maybe-
in his
no, maybe
extra
not.
deck?
Yeah, is there an F-Zero?
That might do it because you can get the 3,300 off of this guy.
Well, he just discarded the Fire Lake, so
well, he has to. It's the only Burning Abyss card in his
Yeah.
hand, so
That's
he's
why.
used for his
Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, he can't win this turn.
This is be
but-
6,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage, and all of those monsters, when they're sent to the graveyard, have effects that activate. And Roby has only ritual spell cards and the Necros of Gungnir. So suddenly, things are looking pretty dire.
No Valkyries for Roby, so he's going to take 6,000, and the Dantes will go to defense.
making sure he gave that a quick shuffle.
And he's got a Skarm lined up for the end phase too, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
if he has
Material.
if he has a card in hand he can set, then I'm not even necessarily sure that searching for Skarm is actually the best thing because he can continue to play around Necrons of Trishula by not adding a card to his hand. But I guess
also
actually
true.
no, that doesn't even work because by not doing that, that also means you're probably not adding any cards with Dante or Virgil.
Right.
Because like it's pretty easy to summon a ritual, you know, force your opponent to get one card in their hand and then use Necrons of Trishula, but nope.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
and
He-
Roby's done.
He searches
He
for
picks up
Skarm's
Book of
effect,
Eclipse.
and Roby says, "That's enough."
And he doesn't like
concedes.
it. And after that blistering start, Roby's on the other end of
Yeah.
a double Dante Virgil combo.
Yep.
Jace Cunningham wins the first duel, and he played that very well. He started with a pretty poor hand and was able to really turn that around.
He did caught two big breaks. I think one is the Gungnir,
Yeah,
not being
I think
used to
that was-
protect Valkyries.
yeah.
And the other is the Seer that he hit off that first Dante to give him the extra monster
Yeah.
to do what he did.
Yeah.
I just feel like even the turn one, I just don't think that Daigusto Emerald, even though he got him a bunch of extra cards, like I actually just don't think that was the optimal thing to do, especially if you know you're going to play against Burning Abyss. It just doesn't.
Fairly standard play.
What the?
Well, the Emerald play, like when you have a hand like that and you're going first, it's a fairly standard play against Necros.
Yeah, when you
clear
contribute
off
away
the
the Valkyries. Yeah, Daigusto Emerald is mostly used in that way, where you go send you or remand you into Necros of Kaleidoscope for Unicorn Valkyries, and then do it like that. Especially if they maxi you, because it lets you clear your whole field and not like you mitigate their draw off maxi with the Daigusto Emerald draw.
We don't know for sure that Roby knew what type of deck Cunningham was
Yeah,
using.
that is just an assumption on our part because there are so few people left in the tournament, and he's probably got some friends.
Yeah, well, we know that he knew that it wasn't Necros, or there's a very, very high likelihood that he knew it wasn't Necros, because there's no way you do that turn one in the mirror. Like
Yeah.
that is just
Yeah,
game
you
over.
actually have to clear your
Yes,
field
yeah, like
with the
there's
Emerald play.
Seems likely.
so yeah. Oh man.
If the next game, possibly to, again, live up to the excitement from that one. Siding-wise, Jay's probably going to put his maxis
Yeah.
right in there.
Maxi's pretty strong against Necros. Actually, I actually think Maxi is a little overrated against Necros in that in the mirror match, Maxi's very powerful because it forces them to either give you more cards or they stop and like are open to getting punished by Necros at Trishula. But with other decks, they can stop a lot easier and just not do anything. So like if you Maxi my Kaleidoscope, right, when I summon Necros of Unicorn, I can just search like a Necros of Valkyries, a Necros of Gungnir, protect my Unicorn past my turn.
That's
and then you just trade Maxi for one card. That's not that optimal. But like on the turns that they have to push, that's when Maxi comes in like very, very, or it comes in handy, I guess, from the...
If you can get an early advantage in the game,
Yeah,
and then
then
force them
yes,
into committing to a big string of special summons.
Yeah, that's traditionally the best way to use Maxi in just about every matchup. Like when you are ahead, Maxi, when you are ahead and your opponent is forced to push through, Maxi is the best card.
We also see that Cunningham has got a Dark Hole in there. That's always useful.
Do you think he brings in Dark Hole?
I think he's going to go for the spell cancelers.
Yeah,
I
that
can
seems...
bet he's going to go for the spell
Go for the
cancelers.
spell cancelers.
Majesty's Fiend. I think Spell Cancelers and Majesty's Fiend, actually.
Yeah.
Majesty's Fiend is surprisingly strong. I initially didn't like cards like Majesty's Fiend and Vanity's Fiend against Necros from the standpoint of decks like Burning Abyss because Necros already plays so many outs to Jin Releaser ritual plays like
Right.
Book of Eclipse, etc., that those also get caught by that. But
Spell canceller.
yeah,
however.
Spell Canceller was the one that was like, oh, you know, none of these cards
Yeah,
work.
they have to get the one-out warrior monster
Yeah,
there.
but what's cool about signing them versus maining that, because originally I was like, oh, well, you just build your deck to beat Necros, right? You're going to main these Vanity's Fiend, Majesty's Fiends. But actually, if you side them in, like, you don't want cards like Book of Eclipse against Burning Abyss, typically.
Right.
So because you don't want that, you'll usually take them out for cards like Mystical Space Typhoon, things to deal with their trap cards, and then they bring in the Fiends, and then they're just so much more powerful than they would have been game one.
Right.
Yeah, especially behind all these trap cards.
What can Roby actually do if the spell canceller lands on him?
Drawing DD Warrior Lady, he also sides Dance Princess of the Necros, so he can summon
Down
it
here? Oh, here it is. I
Yeah.
can't read this.
Yeah, I saw it. So he can also search a Dance Princess of a Necros and then search Necros of Decisive Armor. But the reason that is super dangerous is because you have to go into that play usually when they have a bunch of back row,
Yeah,
and you can
any
easily get
trap
punished.
is
Yeah.
the end of you.
So like you have to set up this turn where you have like a level 4 normal summon Necros, Decisive Armor, plus something like Trishula to protect it. And that's so many cards to deal with the Spell Canceller that usually once you deal with it, you actually can't do much after.
I guess the hands could do it too. If
Oh,
you got
yeah.
Fire hand,
Yeah.
Ice hand. And
If he assembles the Majesty's Fiend Spell Canceller Wombo combo, that will be the demise.
that'd be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Cunningham's chosen, or has been forced to go first. Sets 3 in a monster. Clousless on the other side. Brings up Necros Kaleidoscope. He's got a Max C. That Roby, that is, has a Max C. But it doesn't look like he has.
Much else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Searching when you do, so he has to put Necros of Colossus in the grave, right?
Right.
To at least bluff Necros of Valkyries.
Wow.
And then searching Kaleidoscope is usually the safest because it means any Manju, Senju, Unicorn can get you another card because you're going to send Herald of the Arclight to your grave.
He gets a free turn, though, as Cunningham just sets a card and passes.
Looks like
Ooh,
Cunningham
shit.
drew Skill Drain and set it.
Oh man. Well, I think he has Roby has Mystical Space Typhoon, but that Shrit draw for turn
That's
could
pretty
actually
good.
completely open up the game. I think activating Necros of Kaleidoscope here, like trying to get your opponent to Mind Crush a Necros of Unicorn, and then tributing the Necros of Shrit to summon the Necros of Valkyries seems like a super, super powerful line.
Starts with Cycle, though, and he tributes Shrit to bring the Cloudless out, and that's going to let him get a Warrior Ritual, most likely Brainiac.
Yeah.
There it is.
This line also, it's a little greedier, but you get better use out of your resources because you get to use the Cycle to bring back Colossus and then Necros Mirror to banish the Shrit to summon Valkyries. Means you get 2 ritual spells, both of them were basically free.
And he's looking at Necros of Decisive Armor for
Good
that
choice.
Brainiac effect.
Yeah.
Now that hits any set card, does it not?
Yes.
So he could banish the monster
Yeah.
if he wanted.
I think Necros of Colossus is actually very underrated in matchups like this. Like being able to stop cards like Dante, Virgil, even against Shadal. Like having a Necros of Colossus face up isn't. It's much stronger than it seems.
We
on
watched
the
a
surface.
match. We actually watched a match earlier with the Dragon Duelists, And Necros of Colossalus stayed on the table the entire duel and
Yeah, it
ended up
kept
winning it.
negating Dark Claw over and over again.
Oh man, yeah, that's exactly.
Mirror drops next, and Mind Crush is activated.
See, this is my point. Like, if he would have started with Necros, the Kaleidoscope, there's no way that Hansen wouldn't, or Cunningham wouldn't have tried to Mind Crush a Necros Unicorn, getting some free summon or free transaction like that, or just stopping him from searching with Herald of the Arclight, stopping any other progression.
I'm a little unclear. Did he try to Mind Crush Decisive Armor, and then Decisive Armor was chained to it?
I don't know
force
what
him to
he
discard Breakthrough skill?
I don't know what he named. I think he named. I think he was incorrect in whatever he named.
No. It must have been Decisive Armor. Yeah, I think that's what happened.
That's probably what happened.
Because you can change, because Necros of Decisive Armor is a quick effect, so he can respond to Mind Crush with it, and maybe Cunningham didn't necessarily know. But that still seems strange
Decisive Armor's
that that's
in the
actually
graveyard,
what happened, if that is what happened.
And in the end, Roby, to get around that Mind Crush, he was forced to summon Valkyrus from his hand, and that ran into Torrential Tribute, which triggered Cunningham's Graph, summoning Skarm from the deck.
Wow, that was a pretty good Torrential Tribute.
Turned out pretty well in the end. And the other thing is, Roby got the other card out of his hand, so if there is a possible Trishul follow-up here, it's not going to be useful this turn. And Roby strips his graveyard of Necros, monsters, and spells to search another mirror and a cycle.
So what's he left with?
He's used mirror. I think he still has a scope.
Yeah,
in
he still has
hand.
Kaleidoscope.
So he's got a set of
all
all
the
three,
ritual spells.
and he's used
Maxi.
mirror and cycle.
Yeah, no, he hasn't used Kaleidoscope yet, so if he can still do... No, but that doesn't matter.
I don't see a ritual monster in his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's
Still
Preparation
nothing.
of
And
Rites.
he picks up Preparation of Rites. No spells left in the graveyard, so you're not getting it quite as good as you would otherwise. But
It's
it's
still
still
good
a
enough,
Brianna.
Yeah, it's still
Still
pretty much
any
any monster
ritual
in the
monster.
deck. Any ritual monster in the deck.
And we saw for a moment there that he did put in the hands. Picks up Brianak, immediately tosses it, gets another Shrit. Now he's got a cycle. He can get any of his monsters out of the graveyard there. And he'll be left with the Shrit to go with that next mirror. Cycle's activated. And Cunningham
be
doesn't have
a
a hand, so he can't
Vanity's Emptiness, but we know
couldn't use a Mind Crush, but he does have
Roby
emptiness.
Roby has Mystical Space Typhoon. But
I
if he
think
chains it
he
here,
lets it resolve, though.
Yeah,
Because
I
he
think
can chain it here
he's-
to destroy the Vanity's Emptiness,
Yeah.
or you can wait until it resolves. Mystical Space Typhoon, another card, so you get an additional card from the transaction because Vanity's Emptiness will then destroy itself, and then because you can banish Necros Cycle to find another ritual spell.
agree.
Yeah.
But it also means that he can't probably do anything else this turn because he needs to summon a monster from his grave, so he won't be able to activate another cycle.
He's out of cycles, I
Oh,
believe. He used the first one to get back the Clausulus.
Oh man, if that's the case, I actually might have just Mystical Space Typhoon the Vanity's Emptiness there, just because I want to keep going through my deck. Oh, Firehand's actually a pretty good draw.
Firehand attacking into the 2,000 defense of Skarm isn't quite going to get you there.
No, but setting it might. Or waiting, yeah. Actually, yeah, I'm not even sure if I like setting it. Well, actually, if he's out of cycles and he already has Kaleidoscope and Necros Mirror in his hand, meaning that, like, committing a monster to the field doesn't matter as much if he's not going to banish the cycle. Might make the hand better, but it also, yeah, Vanity's Emptiness also, how does that work with Firehand? If it's destroyed while Vanity's Emptiness is face up, it triggers to destroy something, and then does it,
you won't
Vanity's
be
Emptiness
able-
waits to a new chain, right, to destroy itself?
Yeah, you won't be
so-
able to summon.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
with it.
thought.
Mystical Space Typhoon is activated, destroying one of the face downs. Look like
Otherwise,
Karma Cut.
Vanity's Emptiness goes down with it. Cunningham has a face down Phoenix Wing Wind Blast as well as a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast in his hand.
And Necros Mirror is activated. He tributes the Shrit in his hand for Necros Trishula.
He has Skill Drain. So
Skill Drain is activated, and Roby is visibly displeased.
yeah, that Necros of Trishula would have been
Did he just
huge.
not search? No, I think he just forgot to search with the Necros, the Shrit.
I think you're right.
As
he
I
did.
said, he's so flustered by it that he just forgot. And
Oh, no, his opponent.
Oh.
Yeah. It says it's fine, basically. Yeah. Or no, there's no targets. Oh, that's why. That makes sense. He was just verifying that there were no targets. Okay.
There's
Well,
nothing he can take with the
nothing.
Chariot.
Oh no, he's used one Trishula. He only plays.
it's,
yeah, only plays one
most
Trishula.
people play 5 Warrior Necros Ritual Monsters. One
Wow.
Colossus, or two Colossus, 2 Bionic, 1 Necros Trishula.
I didn't realize he's been through that many.
Yeah, maybe he... It's actually very popular to side out 1 Necros of Colossus when you side out generally serve rituals, because most players... Because you can get back the Colossus and other ritual spells with Necros of Unicorn, it becomes much less valuable to have 2 copies, whereas with Jin Releaser rituals in your deck, you're usually sitting with one in play, so you need the other one to operate efficiently. So maybe he's added one out, but I'm unsure.
Once again, Cunningham didn't look like he was in great shape initially, but now it certainly looks like
things
he's
got
ahead.
a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
He's playing very carefully. I like the way he's playing.
Yeah, the Trishula is still the biggest monster on the field, even if it didn't just banish everything.
Yeah.
That is true, but the Skarm is going to give Cunningham a search in the end phase, and he can easily make Acid Golem.
Well, he would need to find a way. Oh, yeah, there's a way to get another monster into play. It's it's funny that he's using Steel Drain when the hands are actually very, very good against that.
That is true.
Yeah,
So-
and if he's using Skill Drain, we can. Would you assume he hasn't brought in cards like Spell Cancer? No, he has to, right? He just brings it.
Just brings in everything and hope you draw something.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the way, because like you assume a Skill Drain's face up and it's not leaving the field, that you've probably won via Skill Drain.
Oh, Fiend Griefing.
He attacks with Seer. Oh, and that's the one card that you actually can't run Fire Hand into, is Seer, because it matches attack points.
No.
That worked out pretty perfectly.
Yeah.
He'll have to set it and hope that there's not another discard trap
Well,
there.
there is a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast there,
Yeah, but I'm not. I think that
depending on what he draws.
Cunningham will just think it's a Necroz's Shrit, though, because you assume your opponent's just out of
The
anything
Shrit
to
was
do.
tributed. The Shrit was tributed off of the mirror.
But I mean, more so that if your Necroz opponent is setting a monster, it's probably Shrit or Jin Releaser rituals at this stage of the game, because they're trying to answer a skill drain. You know, they're being hindered by this card, so they want to just set something with big defense to try to survive long enough to do something.
So both Shrits are gone, so that would make it the Jin or nothing. Because one is over there banished, and the other one just got kicked back to the deck by Fiend
Oh,
Griefing
so
and sent
yeah,
a graph
so it's
to the
Jin or
graveyard.
nothing.
So we'll see what Cunningham... Oh, yeah, and he has a Spell Canceller in there, too. Just throw it all in
Yeah.
there, see what works.
I think that's probably the best way to do it.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like he might go for Rubik.
Yeah, if he summons Rubik
kinda
here,
weird with
he can get the... Well, he can at least get the biggest body on the field and attack past. But he doesn't know that it's Firehand.
Yeah. It's just because Virgil is what he wants to make probably instead of Dante that he would do that. But
Ah, so he gets Skarm.
yeah.
Well, I feel like Acid Golem, if you want a big body, would make the most sense here with Skill Drain face up.
You still got to deal with those hands, though.
Yeah,
He doesn't know
well,
about
again,
the
he
hands
doesn't
yet,
know
though.
that. So let's see what he draws.
And Maxi is
Maxi right
immediately
here.
activated. And he's taking a long, hard glance at that face-down card. See if he wants to use it now.
I wonder what he drew.
2 cards in hand. He switches the Seer to defense
That's a great,
and passes.
yeah, that's a great play for him. Works out very well for
both
him.
players got what they wanted out of that turn, really.
Yeah,
Cunningham didn't give his opponent any extra cards, and Roby got to skip whatever unpleasantry was coming his way.
I think what Roby really wanted, though, was for Cunningham to start special summoning monsters so that he can draw a bunch of cards.
Yeah.
Roby does nothing, and I think Cunningham might have sniffed out at this point that that's a hand. He's playing very cautiously around that card.
He has a breakthrough skill in his hand, as well as a monster I can't identify.
Could be his own Max C.
Maybe. It looks like a level 3 monster. Looks like Rubik.
Oh, is it Rubik?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is
Yeah, it
Rubik.
is Rubik. He's going to summon it, tune it with Skarm.
Oh, this could be bad.
This could be bad. Actually, well, he has Phoenix Wing Wind Blast face down.
He says go, and in the end phase, he gets a Skarm Search. Okay, so he is still able to play around the hands like that.
Wow. He must know it's a hand. There's no other reason he wouldn't attack, or at least strongly suspect it's a hand.
Yeah.
And that is another Seer. That's good. So at the end phase, he can knock that monster off the field.
Yeah,
he can
and
get the
then-
special summon off Seer and try to rush through.
Just win the game there.
I think Robbie this turn, though, tries to use the Fire Hand because he can attack with the Fire Hand into Virgil, destroy the Sir with Fire Hand, get Ice Hand, attack into Virgil, destroy the Skill Drain, and then be able to...
We know that's not going to work because he has Phoenix Wing Wind Blast.
Yes, but I'm saying from Roby's perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, the question is how many life
Well, I
points
don't
do you
know.
let him burn away by running his own monsters into Virgil?
I think you let the Fire Hand through for sure. But if it's Sphinx Wind Blast, I actually think you put the Fire Hand on top versus Ice Hand. But if it's something like Karma Cut,
then you take the Ice Hand.
Yeah, like having a Sear trigger probably isn't the worst.
And he's flipped someone Fire Hand, and now he checks to see what traps might be awaiting, and attacks into Virgil. Very emphatically.
He's very eager to see if he's successful in his attack.
Yeah,
Sear.
This is good here too because I think it was, because he'll get to get a Sear's effect here and then a Sear's effect next turn because there's already one in play.
So this might be the end.
Now we see he's just picked up Book of Moon, so he gets another turn.
That perhaps can prolong it.
I mean, the fact that Dante doesn't gain any attack because of the skill drain also, like he can't actually get all these cards into the graveyard that easily while putting up much of an offense. If he draws a Rubik, oh no, you can only control one Virgil, or is that negated by skill drain?
That would not be.
Because
is it a condition?
Yeah, I think it would count on the one in the extra deck.
Yeah, that's the one that can't. Yeah, it's the one in the extra deck stopping you from summoning it, not the one in play. That's right. Yeah, I remember that coming up with some other. Oh, like Bujin Yamato. Bujin Yamato when it was like Fiendish Chained.
The Malefics.
Oh yeah, same.
That comes up with the law.
Yes.
And now Roby is committed to the throw everything I have face down bluff.
See how that works out for him.
It's actually worked out for one person this week, the set 5, because
it
wasn't a bluff. He had Torrential from the start of the match.
Set 5, they're all bluffs. Oops, there's a Torrential Tribute in the middle. That's what we saw earlier this weekend.
2 level 3 monsters are combined. And he goes ahead and throws Dante out there.
Its effect is negated, but he can still detach it in Dixie's material to activate it.
It's a cost to send the cards to the graveyard as well.
So he'll get a bunch of Burning Abyss triggers, or at least one, if not more. So let's hope there's a Farfa somewhere in here.
Oh!
There's the Farfa.
And is that Barber too?
That was pretty good.
I can't see, but that is...
I'm pretty sure that was Barber.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That was the best thing I think he could have nailed with Dante. That was so strong.
He got Graph, Barbar, and Farfar.
Well, he detached the Graph, but the fact that he got the burn damage and the Farfar is pretty cool. Oh, man.
That is brutal. So goes ahead, activates his Graph effect. Do that first.
I don't think that Book of Moon's going to be enough.
No, it still might be. Book of Moon probably on the Virgil, right? Because you assume that's the most attack, and then it's only 26 left.
Definitely the most. Well, he's going to lose 9 from the Barbar, I think.
Okay, so then that's 26 plus 9, 35. Because the Dante's still only at 1,000.
Yeah, Dante's got 1,000.
Yeah.
He hasn't summoned yet.
So then Asagolem too, I guess. Oh, no, he still has it. He summoned the Sir. Are you saying normal summoned?
Yeah, normal summoned.
Oh, okay. So I guess, Asagolem is probably the maximum damage output then? Or assuming it's not Mathematician or
Actually, I don't know what's in his hand.
Mathematician, I think, has been played.
Oh, it's a trap card in his hand.
Okay, so yeah.
Maybe he can't win this turn.
Dante attacks. Seer attacks. Virgil attacks. Roby takes it all. He's one Seer effect away from just losing if Barber gets back again.
Yeah.
Main phase 2 Downer Magician is summoned on top of Dante.
Yeah, taking all that damage definitely seems like it was a bit of a risk.
Yeah, because there's nothing Roby can really do if he recycles Barber.
We know what Roby drew. It is the Fire Hand again.
Yep.
No. It's not Fire Hand, right? Because the Fire Hand got banished with Farfa and then returned to the field.
No, that was
his set Manju or Senju.
Oh.
Yeah. He set something to try to save himself.
Oh, man.
He now flips the Manju. Doesn't have enough life points. Oh, no, he can Fire Hand into Seer. But then he brings Barber back,
so
and then that's not going to go very well in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, there's no good way to...
Let's check in his extra deck and see, does he play anything esoteric like Crazy Box?
That would be crazy.
Crazy Box. 2 level 4s make Exciton Knight in defense.
Does he think he can get around that skill drain?
He can get around the skill drain because he has Book of Moon.
He does have Book of Moon.
But that puts the Barbar back onto the field and gives a free draw.
Yeah. And Dante will add back the Burning Abyss monster necessary to complete that.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
He can bring Rubik back and quickly send that Barbar to the grave by tuning with it.
So I don't see any way that this ends well for Justin Roby. But we thought the same thing at the start of the last duel.
Yes.
After Roby drew all those cards and did all that stuff.
The difference here is that Cunningham actually has a lock on this duel. We know all the cards, and I don't think there's any way he can lose.
No, he's got Tour Guide.
Just as a 1,000 attack.
Tour guide attacks. Activates.
Your responses, obviously nuts. Chains Book
All right.
Moon.
Yep, Book of Moon. Not bad. Not necessarily going to get you there unless you pull 7,000 damage out.
Yeah,
Does-
he can't even respond with Breakthrough Skill here or anything, right? Because the skill drain stops him from activating.
Yeah, it's
cards
already
up.
being negated.
Yeah, so you can't negate it again.
Does the Exiton Knight destroy itself since it's put
Yeah,
face
he
down?
had Breakthrough Skill set too. So like even though if Breakthrough Skill hits the monster before Book of Moon resolves, then its effect is still negated, right? Because the Breakthrough Skill hit it before the book. Is that how that works? Yeah, it's the same thing as Effect Veiler.
If it
Or
flips
it's-
face down, it stops being negated.
Oh
Flipping
yeah,
face down severs
specifically
you.
Book of Moon. Yeah, okay, but with Torrential Tribute, that's the difference. I remember there's something about like where if you chain the effect negation onto the monster at a higher chain link than something that would remove it from the field, it's still negated. But I think Book of Moon, I think the book effects are like the exception to this rule.
And the
because
scary
set
thing
monsters
here
are
is that
different.
Seer was able to bring back Virgil.
Oh,
and
geez.
now that it's not, I mean, he can attack with it, but I thought he brought back the Barber.
He added that to his hand with Dante.
Yeah, he brought back the Dante Barber, so he didn't even need to attack. He just toss it and win that way.
So that
And-
when the Exiton Knight is turned face down, it still identifies itself as the Exiton
Yeah,
Knight.
it's the
that
old
used
Judgment
effect.
Dragon rule.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was wondering.
And in the end, Chase Cunningham, despite looking, it was a little bit sketchy there, a little touch and go for Cunningham there, but in the end, he winds up punching his ticket to the World Championship with a 2-0 victory over Justin Roby's Necroz deck.
So Chase Cunningham is moving on to the top 4.
He's
and
one
will
of the first
be
4.
One of the 6 North American representatives at the World Championship in Kyoto, Japan this year.
We'll find out who the rest of the first 4 are. And in the meantime, we've got a replay of the Dragon Duels for you. Don't go away.